G'day, I'm Ash, welcome back to the channel, and more importantly, welcome to Ash's Top 10 Hated Aircraft in War Thunder 2023. Every couple of years we tend to do a hated list, and this year is no exception with that one. So if you want to go check out the previous series, look in the cards above. Otherwise, these vehicles are not in any particular order, but let's get cracking on. Like, subscribe, buy my decal, all that other good stuff, and we'll get into the list. Now, first on the list is a premium rank of VF 3 Italian fighter with a battle rating of 4.0. It is the Italian BF-109 F4. It was introduced as a part of a reward in Apex Predators for the Battle Pass Season 10 Royal Guard. It's painted with the scheme of an Hungarian pilot, which was the highest scoring Hungarian fighter ace of the Royal Hungarian Air Force. And that's fine, but its introduction already has substantiated the fact that there was already a 109 in Tech Tree, and there was already a premium 109 in the game as well. So this really sort of was added at a time where the only thing it got that was distinguished it from other vehicles was the fact that it got a Flam C250 incendiary bomb. Oh, and in the dev blog, it mentioned that it didn't have the retractable landing gear wheel well covers. And that was a thing that made it different from all the other 109s. So they're staying on the list, not because it isn't a good vehicle, but more importantly because it was a Battle Pass vehicle that was essentially just a lazy copy-paste. Number 2 on the list is the A6E Tram. Now, I wanted to love this little aircraft. In fact, I said it should have been in War Thunder years ago. Its introduction as one of the first $70 premiums was really a spot of controversy, considering it is mainly known as a close air support vehicle. Its later subsequent removal from, I guess, mainstream happened when the F4S came into light as a dedicated fighter. But this being a premium vehicle, its flight modeling game is kind of rubbish. While it does have a lot of features, it really struggles. And when I was flying this thing, while the missiles are good, it really locks up and just tends to be a bit of a flying whale rather than what it probably was known as being more of a flying tank. And flying it personally, the flight model just feels like it was meant for ground forces rather than actual air realistic battles, which it probably would do better in if there was a dedicated game mode for that. Now the next aircraft is a twin-seater variant of the F100. In fact, it's the F100F Super Sabre, and its battle rating of 9.3 is an addition which I consider to be a bit too late to the game, and its introduction really just hammed up to be, well, just that of a mediocre jet. It's just an F100. In the days where we're fighting, you know, Su25s and various other things, this event vehicle, which was given to the Chinese tech tree, really kind of suffered. It only had 4 AIM-9Es, and even then it was kind of just a mediocre jet that was slightly heavier than its regular counterparts. And it have extra weight, it really just meant that it was basically an equivalent of earlier F100 that was a bit out of date. Now the next aircraft is still a good aircraft. In fact, everything on this list is still okay. But I don't like the Su25 BM. This is an 11.0 rank 6 vehicle that really kind of suffers. It gets up-tiered into the wrong battles. The issue with this Su25 is it fights aircraft which just outperform it in every regard. It's an Su25 that's over-tiered. I reckon 10.3, maybe 10.7 would probably be better for it. But you know, it is the repair aircraft plant sort of variant of the repair factory, and was introduced in update Le Royal. It has new HUDs and MFDs, it had new missiles, and it also got R73s, but it basically was a very obsolete, well, Su-25, and I just don't like that. Number 5 is the Row 44, a rank 1 Italian fighter with a battle rank of 1.0. Introduced an update Sky Guardians, it basically equipped every other nation with at least one seaplane to use for naval battles. The problem I have with this thing isn't the aircraft itself, it's a beautiful little machine. It stems from the fact that they've modelled the cockpit completely wrong. Essentially, they've given us a copy-paste cockpit from another aircraft which doesn't actually match the internals or the externals of the Row 44, and it just looks completely off. I believe they've just shoved the CR32 cockpit in there and just called it a day, just so that they can use it and you know, have it available. But really pissed me off because sometimes I like looking at the cockpit and I really like my World War II content, but this was just a little bit of just annoyance. Number 6 is the Submarine. This is a vehicle that I've been waiting for a very, very long time. Essentially, it was an aircraft that needed to be, well, imported and popped on a carrier. But for me, the biggest nuisance was this vehicle was added so late. I love the previous aircraft. The Intendant is a fantastic little jet, but this one at 10.0 really does kind of suffer. It's got what you would call, I don't know, small man kind of syndrome, where the other aircraft you fight are better than it, and it's sitting at a battle rating where it fights Harriers, Su25s, and other premium aircraft, and just is generally over-tiered, and something that I'd consider to be, well, irregular and really quite annoying. It's got a decent amount of ground units and access to paveways and various other things, but its two magics are really only its saving grace. And even then, the countermeasures, you only get 90 of them. But there are no Exocet anti-ship missiles or an Argentinian skin for the thing, so it's kind of a bit in my opinion. Number 7 on the list is the HE115C1. Now, initially I liked this vehicle. Essentially, it's a rank 1 German float bomber, and I love float bombers. However, this thing just is... it's just crap. Introduce an update, Sons of Attila. Basically, it is a very versatile bomber, but it's a bomber at rank 1. Incredibly slow, has a horrible flight model. Equipped with two 250-kilogram bombs and 2 flamme incendiary bombs, or torpedo, it's got one MG151 machine gun with chin mounted with 200 rounds, and it just can't go faster than, 300 kilometers an hour. Its maximum speed is 274, or about 300, and I wish there was more World War II content like this thing in game, because at least it makes the game interesting. Number 8 on the list will surprise you. I know that's a bit of a clickbaity term and terminology, but it is something that I absolutely despise with absolute passion. This is the G91Y. It was added for no particular reason other than it was a variant they could add. It's a close air support variant of the G91Y. Instead of being a fighter, it's more of a supersonic or subsonic aircraft that does have a decent amount of close air support. And it's got 500 pounders and incendiary bombs, Mighty Mouse rockets, and Zunis. It has no air-to-air capabilities, and it has absolutely no countermeasures at all. So it is something which is a bit shit, especially considering it's 9.3, and the G91YS is just a better aircraft, and it's one of those Italian aircraft that suffer from over-compression, and despite it being introduced a couple of years ago, I just hate the existence of this very aircraft. The next one on the list is a bit controversial, though it is another strike aircraft. This is the Tornado IDS, one of the first Tornadoes to be added into the game, also known as the IDS Marine Flieger, introduced during Update Predators as a reward for the 2022 Winter Quest. The Tornado IDS was basically gets access to an anti-ship missile, and that's its only unique thing. And the fact is, well, nobody really plays naval, and why would you use an anti-guided ship-based weaponry? Like, what's the point of this particular vehicle? It just is a tornado, and I don't generally like tornadoes. Granted, it gets, AIM-9Ls, they're kind of cool, but I don't like the Marine Flieger. It just rubs me the wrong way. And the last vehicle that rubs me the wrong way, specifically number 10, and being one of my favorite aircraft in the world. This is the F111A, and I don't hate it because of its gun pods, although initially that was the reason why I made It Was Useless video, because I wanted to use the F111 in more of a strike fighter role, which is actually more of a later model edition. The F111A was more of a bomb truck more than anything else. It is a frontline heavy bomber and could be used in a fleet and defense and strike doctrine, but ultimately it was too heavy for the US Navy. Anyhow, I love this thing, but it gets AIM-9Bs, and historically the A model could actually have AIM-9Es, at least equipped later on. So I just feel like it's a missed opportunity. I get its battle rating 10.3, and I get it's one of the fastest things in the game, but its limited countermeasures and its AIM-9s, it just really suck. And if you're trying to use it as a fighter, it doesn't really work that well. And I love using vehicles, particularly if they're a bomber aircraft, as a fighter. It's fun to do. It's a bit of a challenge. But when it comes to the F111A, Its shortcomings are that it is a multi-role aircraft that heavily focuses the close air support. That's what it was designed to do. Unfortunately, we don't have other variations in-game just yet, and I'd love to see an Australian version, a C or a G or even a K model, because those actually, at least the export variations, have better countermeasures, better ordnance. Anyway, let me know what you think of my top 10 list for 2023. Do you agree? Do you not agree? Are there vehicles that I missed that should be on this list? Again, nothing is in order here, but let me know your top 5 hated aircraft of this year. My name is Ash, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you next one.